We're just over a week away from the 2025 MLB trade deadline, and the Red Sox looked like they were going to be one of the big players of this deadline. Shucking, jiving, making huge moves for this year, huge moves for the future. They've got assets to move. Jeff Passan is here to rain on your parade. He tweets out this morning, at this moment, the Red Sox are not inclined to engage in any large-scale deadline moves. Boston is an organization that deeply values operating efficiently, and the market like this is the epitome of inefficient. Sorry, that first half, Boston is an organization that deeply values operating efficiently. Doesn't that just give you just a rage boner at this point? Like, this franchise is so not concerned with fucking winning baseball games and competing in the postseason and potentially, I don't know, making a World Series. They want to operate efficiently. Like, that's all they give a shit about is operating efficiently. Don't care about winning games. Sorry, I'll finish the quote here from Passan. Maybe they pony up to get Joe Ryan, but for now, at least, they simply haven't been willing to go there. Of course they haven't. Because we all fell for it again. I did. Because I saw the way they invested in this team in the offseason. And then they're actually starting to, on the field, make the moves to tell your GM to, hey, let's get another guy or two in here and let's make a real run at this thing. And they tease you, they beckon, and they just don't do it. Now, of course, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do anything at this trade deadline. Like, that has never been more clear than right now. You know why they're not going to do anything at this trade deadline? Because they should do something at this trade deadline. And trading just isn't efficient. Trying to win World Series, it's just not efficient, damn it. Do you see Pittsburgh trying to do that? Do you see the A's trying to do that? You see Colorado trying to do that? No. As those teams are efficient, god damn it. They're like the worst teams ever, but damned if they're not efficient. Because that's all the Red Sox give half a shit about, is being efficient. This is coming from Passan, who a week ago said like they're one deal away from winning the World Series. But I will say, looking at this team and how they've lost 4 out of 5 when they actually face real baseball teams, I do have this question after watching the game last night. Are there too many moves for them to make? I want the Red Sox to make moves to get better now, but in terms of like really becoming a World Series contender, I don't think one trade deadline is enough. That's not an excuse to go out and do nothing. But I don't think you can cover all your team's holes in one trade deadline. Because everyone says they need another top-end starting pitcher, and they do. Joe Ryan would fit that mold. But you also need a first baseman desperately. The Abraham Toro, Romy Gonzalez thing has completely run dry, and Christian Campbell cannot figure out his swing at the AAA level. You don't have any real everyday major league options at first base. Not a single one. That's a major concern. That's probably even more of a concern than starting pitcher right now. You also need a backup catcher because you don't have a major league level backup catcher. Connor Wong is quite literally the worst player in Major League Baseball. Regardless of position, regardless of age, regardless of situation, he is no doubt the worst player in Major League Baseball with his 1 RBI and his 0 extra base hits this season. Cam Stewart, host of the Cam Show, has as many extra base hits this Major League season as Connor Wong does. Like, that's fucking embarrassing, dude. And not for nothing, you now have to rely on your bullpen to just stay healthy and stay good the rest of the season. Those of us who watch every year, how often does that happen? You really got to catch lightning in a bottle with a bullpen. And that's what they've done in the first half. It's going to be tough to do for the entirety of the second half. And that's with no injuries here, guys. That's with no real injuries. You get another injury in the next week or so, there's no way you can make it up in one trade deadline. So the Red Sox probably have too many issues. That said, that's not an excuse to just not do anything at this trade deadline. It can't be an excuse. Like, you finally invested in the offseason. Like you did. You spent $40 million on Alex Bregman. You went out and traded two of your big-time prospects for Garrett Crochet and then immediately extended him. Like, that is investment. You did do that. To then half a season later trade your franchise player and then say, we're not going to try and get any better, even though we're absolutely still in the race here. That would be the most embarrassing nail in the Red Sox coffin we've ever seen. Like, if they do nothing at this trade deadline, that would be the billionth reminder in the last 5 years that they don't give a shit about winning anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know. 4, I guess, was the magic number for this ownership group. Once they hit their 4th World Series title, they said, okay, we're good. Once they hit the 4th one, they said, okay, we're going to buy all these other teams. You know, they already bought Liverpool, but they were like, we're going to do the Penguins thing, and we're not going to care about this anymore. We're not going to invest in this anymore. And it's beyond bad. It's embarrassing. I know you've heard this take a billion times before, but it's true. In so many ways, the Red Sox operate like Tampa, like Pittsburgh, and they throw in the odd big money move to make to get you off their back. You know, because Sam Kennedy would sit there and say, well, how can we sign Trevor Story to this big a deal or Garrett Crochet to this big a deal? And you tell us we're operating like Pittsburgh. They do that just often enough that they can say that to you. Oh, they extended Rafael Devers, and then they traded him in the middle of his prime. They signed Alex Bregman to a $40 million deal, but who's to say he's going to be on the team in a week? They could well trade him too. Would anybody be surprised? That's what they do. They trade their best players because they want to operate efficiently. Those of you who spend, the most money, more money than anybody in Major League Baseball, those of you who spend $100 just to get in the ballpark on a Tuesday night, spend $40 on 2 beers and a bag of popcorn, and spend $160 on a jersey, you guys care about winning the World Series. The team that's demanding all those prices and is running the team, they want to operate efficiently. This is where I get so pissed off about the Red Sox is I don't know where it trailed off. Like, I don't know where it went wrong. They had the best executive in Major League Baseball history in Theo Epstein, who definitely wanted to work efficiently, but also found a way to do that and win the World Series and be the best organization in baseball. Now, since Theo has left, and really since Dave Dombrowski has left, the Red Sox have had zero interest in winning. They just want to operate efficiently. Like, they just want to look good in PR. They want to get a bunch of advertisements out there, and they want to do game day ceremonies for the 2004 team. What they don't want to do is win baseball games. And this Jeff Passan report is just another instance of that, because someone's telling him that. Someone's telling him, hey, we're not really going to go in and do anything here. It would be stupid for us. Why would we do that? That would be inefficient. Why would we want to be inefficient? The Red Sox are in a golden opportunity to make some huge moves here because they have too many guys in the outfield. And Jarren Duran's obviously kind of the odd man out, trade bait, with 3 or 4 more years of team control on a cheap contract for a guy you can play at all the outfield positions, top of the order bat, wreaks havoc on the base pass. You just don't really need him. Other teams do. And you're not going to hold their feet over the fire. You're just going to say, yeah, you know what? We'll just keep him. We'll trade him in the offseason. We'll push it off for another fucking year. After all the investment we made in this winter, we decide to push it off for another year, because how can we compete now? Oh man, we're just not producing enough runs. Is it because we traded a 30 home run hitter in his prime in the middle of the season for literally nothing? Or is it because we're trying to operate efficiently? Like, it just doesn't make any sense any way you slice it. And other major league fan bases and teams, front offices, they laugh at the Red Sox. They're the butt of the joke, man. Like other big market teams, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs, who are all doing well right now, are looking at this and being like, this is awesome. This is one of the 4 or 5 teams that can actually compete with us for free agents, and they're deciding not to. They're saying, we don't want to do that. One of the only teams in the league that can pony up big money is saying, we're good. We're not going to do it. So the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Cubs, shit, even the Padres are like, how did we get this lucky? The Mets, how did we get this lucky? Boston and one of the Chicago teams are on the same plane. They just don't want to do any kind of business. It's beautiful. And then for those other teams that are mid-market, that are doing really well right now, Detroit, Milwaukee, the best records in baseball, they're like, great. That's one team that's in the race right now we don't even have to worry about. Because they're going to stand pat and operate efficiently while we go to the playoffs and win the World Series. They're just going to operate efficiently. Raise the operating efficiently banner. God, I can't wait for that ceremony. It's just, if they actually do stand pat on July 31st, I don't know why any Red Sox fan could truly invest in this. Like, how can you when the team won't? And they're just going to kick the can down the road for another year. They don't want to win. If they stand pat at this trade deadline, that will once again prove it. For not the first time. This is 5-7 years of this shit. They don't want to make the team better. They just want to save money. And what bugs me the most about this, in this context in 2025, you traded Rafael Devers for nothing. Nothing. Not a goddamn thing from the San Francisco Giants. You traded Rafael Devers the second somebody said, we'll take on the full contract. And a month and a half after that, you're going to tell me that it's just too much of a financial risk to go out there and make these deals? Go fuck yourself. You're saving $240 million by trading your best player in his prime for absolutely nothing. And the next month, you're going to say, well, it's not efficient for us to go out and get some guys right now. Cut the shit. Like, what is this? What organization is this? It's totally unrecognizable from the one that I grew up with. They can still get Joe Ryan. If they get Joe Ryan, then this whole tenor changes. If they go out and make a move for Joe Ryan, you're like, okay, we're in. That's probably your biggest need. I still think it's probably a first baseman. You need to look at Josh Naylor. But if you go out there and get Joe Ryan, I think the whole temperature for this team changes. But if they stick to this Jeff Passan report and they do nothing, and they give you that company line bullshit of, oh, we love the guys we have in our clubhouse right now, then I don't know how you invest in this team as a fan. I just don't. And I'm the biggest Red Sox fan there is. But at some point, you just got to turn it off and go with Patriots training camp. Like, I can't keep letting them hurt me when they have shown, not by what they say, but what they've done. They have shown for years now, they don't actually care about winning. And if they do nothing at this trade deadline, I refuse to get suckered in again. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. What should the Red Sox do? What will the Red Sox do? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are pissed off by how this organization is being run. You can find us bitching about it here every weekday, high noon Eastern time, live on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So check out the other videos on the channel, talking Red Sox, Bruins, everything else going on in Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow on another edition of a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.